Hi, everyone. Welcome to Cooking for Our Lives. This is Adam Chang, Director of the Adolescent Health Working Group, and we're so excited to have you on this evening's program. We're running a couple minutes late, but I'm sure viewers are going to continue to join us. We are so thankful to have you in this evening's program. We have excited chefs, great speakers. We'll have prize drawings throughout this evening. And before we kind of run through an overview of what you can expect, I do want to kind of take a moment to recognize that California is going through a lot right now, in particular with the wildfires going on. And so I wanted to take a minute just to read a little excerpt from the New York Times. And it says, now the 118-year-old state park, California's oldest, the place where Mr. Gallagher hiked with his children in June, where Mr. Young learned to camp in his childhood, and where Miss McLendon repeated her vows in a stand of 500-year-old redwoods, has been devastated. Park officials closed it on Wednesday, another casualty of the wildfires that have wrecked the state with a vengeance that has grown more apocalyptic every year. This is our reality. We have to continue to address all that's happening in our community, in our society, around racial justice, around climate change. And the way we can do that is to continue to have conversations, stay informed with the topics, and support one another throughout this. With that said, I do want to say we have a lot to go over in this evening program. We have 4 recipes. We have our guest speakers. And so I want to kind of recognize that this is live, and going live comes with risk and benefits. We may very much run into some technical difficulties along the way. We're going to smile about it. We're going to laugh about it. And I promise we have all these backups in place to get us moving along in the program. The benefit, though, is with COVID-19, with this pandemic, we crave human connection and we crave socializing. And this is why we made a decision as a team to have this be a live program so that we could all go through this and experience it together. The laughs, the mess ups, all of it. I do want to say hello to our audience. We have about over 150 people signed up. And so thank you again for registering. We want to give you exclusive access to some of our new resources. You got access to our recipes. And we have, I think, viewers all the way from Hawaii to California to New York, and hello to Justin and Paige out in Germany as well. So thanks for going live with us. We are going to kind of not follow your standard order of, appetizer, entree, dessert, but we're actually going to prioritize cook time. So this is kind of my precursor warning that as we run through our chefs and their different recipes, we're going to actually start with drinks, and then we're going to go second into dessert because we need to preheat our oven to 350 degrees. Do that in the next minute or so. And then we'll run into appetizers and finally wrap up with our entree. Throughout this, we encourage you to snack and eat along the way. And we will be highlighting different resources and hearing from different guest speakers as well. So without further ado, I would love to introduce our first chef. We have Chef Nicole Tran, AKA Chef Mei Mei, who's an entrepreneur specializing in food and health. She started her own meal prep company, Gourmet Meals, and that's located in Millbrae and catering to the Greater Bay Area. She has her website. It's spelled gourmetmeals.com, and gourmet is spelled GOURMEI meals.com. You can also follow her on Instagram, Gourmet Meals. Without further ado, I would love to turn it over to Chef Nicole.
All right, hello everybody. And thank you guys for having me on this cooking show. I feel very honored to be a part of this. Today, I will be making a drink called a Guava Sunrise, and I feel like this would be a great drink to accompany tonight's menu. It's very refreshing, and it's also very kid friendly as well. So let's get started on this because I know you guys are all pretty hot summer right now, and probably looking for a drink to quench your thirst. So first, what you're going to need is your glass. And then what I'm using for alcohol today is gin. And you can use vodka too if you would like. And then next I have Kern's guava nectar. It's pretty tasty. I would say that it gives it the right amount of sweetness. And then next we have some pineapple juice. And then we have some ginger beer, some lemon, just to cut the sweetness. And we have some mint leaves. And also have a bunch of mint here because you guys probably bought a whole bunch. And I'm going to tell you guys what to do with it afterwards. And the next thing is you need some ice, of course, to make your drink cold. And then I have a cocktail shaker just in case you guys want to see me do a little something fun. This is optional. You can definitely use just 2 glasses to make your drinks, or you can also use a spoon to just stir up your drink. And then lastly, I'm using a shot glass, just a regular shot glass, to measure out my drinks because I realize that is probably the most accessible tool that everybody has in their pantry. All right, so first, I'm gonna pour some ice into glass. Maybe let's do like halfway. I did like halfway in the shaker. And then if you're making this for a kid, you don't need to do this step right here. So this is for adults only. So we're going to do 2 ounces, which is a full shot. And then now, if you're making this for kids, this is where you're going to start for the kids. You're going to do the guava juice. And you're going to do a full shot of that as well. And just dump it right in. And then pineapple juice. And we're not going to do the guava just yet because if you shake it, then it might just explode everywhere. So we're just going to top that right after. And next, just to balance everything out, we're going to add some lemon in here. Just a little squirt. And then with the mint leaves, what you're going to do is you're going to take a few leaves, 3 or 4, and then you're going to put it in the palm of your hand. And you're gonna slap it, just to release the aromatic oils. And then you just tear it up and sprinkle it into the drink. Now, here is the variation. So what you can do is you can just simply pour it and just strain it through, just to mix the drink up. Or you can also stir it. And you want to mix the drink thoroughly. That way all the flavors can melt together. And then also when the ice melts, it actually blends everything together. Now, because I was a bartender, I'm going to do a little mixology for you guys. All right. Slap it on and then shake. Do a little dance, whatever you please. Okay. Now that it's all nice and cold, I use the heel of my hand and I just pop it open. All right. And then pour it into your glass. And just like a little more ice in mine. Oops. And then you just top it with your ginger beer. All right, and lastly, just to make it look nice, you're gonna just take one of the stems of the leaves and you find one that looks really pretty. One that has like all the leaves still intact and you have like a little piece of it right here too. Just gonna take that and put it in your drink. And voila, the Guava Sunrise. You see how it's so gradient and pretty? That's what you're looking for.
Awesome, Nicole. Thank you so much for walking us through that. It is super warm in the Bay right now. We're broadcasting live from San Francisco here. And having something like that to get us started is so, so much appreciated. Mm-hmm. Nicole will join us back towards the end and hopefully folks find that refreshing. I do want to mention that we are doing a few prize drawings throughout this program. And I said we wanted to share some resources that the Adolescent Health Working Group has developed for you all as well. So the first resource I would love to highlight is what does it mean to be healthy? This is all available on a link we shared with you all exclusively. And we will be releasing this to our audience, our network of providers within the next week or so. But if you thought that this could be helpful in your work with families, with parents or caregivers, if you're parents and families yourself, obviously, this is a great resource. It's 2 pages. What does it mean to be healthy? 7 tips to talk about health in general. And for us, it seems sometimes so complex and broad. And yet when we're talking about health, we're talking about kind of adolescent growth and development. We're talking about what are the myths people are hearing about dieting, about body image. What are young people hearing about relationships, sex, and dating? And so when we talk about health, we really do want to be inclusive as possible of all the health aspects of a young person. That is the first resource I want to share. And I also want to introduce our first speaker of this evening. And that's Lisa Mihaly, who is our board chair. Lisa is the professor and faculty at UCSF School of Nursing and School of Medicine. And I know that she is super excited to share a few words with you all. So Lisa, if you will.
Hi. It's really great to be here, and the drinks are being made behind me as we speak, so that's exciting. I first learned about the Adolescent Health Working Group about 15 years ago when I was a graduate student at UCSF becoming a nurse practitioner, and was lucky enough to get involved in helping develop some of the toolkits, which excuse me, the smoke is getting to me, which are kind of almost a religious object for people who work in adolescent health. We use them all the time to guide us in terms of taking care of young people. And for any of you on this call who are providers and don't know about the toolkits, please get in touch and we'll point you towards them. The Adolescent Health Working Group has always been part of my practice. I've worked with young people in a lot of different settings since I became a nurse practitioner, in juvenile hall, in college health, in other clinics. And the working group has conferences and the toolkits I've already mentioned, and fact sheets, and a really useful website. And it provides a lot of support for people like me who are working with young people in various community settings. I came back to the organization in 2018 during a very rough moment for us as an organization. And it's been great to see it begin to build back up. I was thinking about it earlier today. I think of the Adolescent Health Working Group as being a little bit like Elastigirl, for those of you who are fans of The Incredibles. She's the one who has like 6 arms and she can reach everything that she needs at any time. That's one of my goals in life, is to become like that. But I think the working group does that. We run conferences for providers. We have the website where people can get information. We have toolkits, which, as I mentioned, a lot of them are being updated. We do school, teaching in schools. I'm sure Adam will fill me in. I'm sure fill out what I'm missing. So otherwise, I just wanted to say we're incredibly lucky to have Adam, who has helped to lead us out of the desert and into tonight's dessert and other fun things. And he is our staff and works incredibly hard and has really made a huge difference in getting us back onto solid footing. So thank you for being here tonight. Thanks. I know some of you have already donated, and we really, really appreciate it. Every dollar goes a long way and gets spent very well. And to those of you who haven't yet donated, please do as generously as you can. And bon appetit.
Thank you so much, Lisa. You're absolutely right. We did kind of develop this program, Cooking for Our Lives, as a fundraiser event. Adolescent Health Working Group, like so many other nonprofits and organizations, has been impacted in 2020. We did lose our local government funding, and yet, we've heard so much from our supporters and allies, and we have all the motivation and energy to keep pushing forward and pushing through. And so truly, thank you to our audience for tonight and the amount of generous support that has come through in the few weeks that we've planned for and put on this cooking show. So with that said, cheers, Lisa. I would love to do a first raffle drawing. So I have a little over 100 names kind of cut out and printed out in this bowl. My eyes are closed. And our first prize item, this is not a raffle. This is simply anyone who has registered. Donation or not, everyone's name is just thrown in the pot. And so kind of in the spirit and theme of health, we wanted to offer a trio of tea blends. And we have chamomile, orange ginger, chamomile pomegranate, so caffeine-free, some really refreshing items. You can make hot tea, iced tea, but I'm gonna draw a name real quickly. See, I'm looking away, I'm shuffling, and I'm gonna pull the first name as Sandra Collins. Sandra Collins in California. Our team will shoot you an email and we'll get your shipping address and this tea trio will be shipped out to you. All right, first prize drawing done. I do wanna kind of get us moving along, and our next course is gonna be, like I said, we're gonna cook dessert first. So, throw all the rules out the window here. We'll have appetizer and entree after that. But without further ado, I would love to introduce both chefs, Ed and Blaine. Ed and his husband built their family by adopting 2 brothers through foster care. And during quarantine, Ed and his son Blaine started a YouTube channel called Cooking Disasters with Blaine. So don't forget to check it out, like and subscribe. Ed works as a consultant with nonprofit and philanthropic leaders, supporting them to seize opportunities to increase social justice in this moment of quarantine and racial reckoning. Blaine is 9 years old, and I love these two. I promise you guys are gonna have a good time. Without further ado, would love to introduce Ed and Blaine. And you guys remember to unmute yourself.
Hi, Adam, can you see us?
I can. I wonder if it's just me or is your camera intentionally flipped the wrong way?
It's not supposed to be, but that's the magic of live programming. Let's see what happens if Chris flips it over.
Absolutely. This is perfect. I see you guys.
So I want to thank Chef Nicole for starting us off with cocktails, because when you're working with kids on live programming, everybody needs a cocktail. So I am Ed, and this is my son. And this is my son. What's your name? CJ. And this is my first son.
Hello.
What's your name?
Blaine.
Blaine. And tonight we are going to make butter mochi for you. Do you remember where I'm from?
Hawaii.
Yeah, so I'm from Hawaii. And so we're going back to my roots in Hawaii. We're in San Francisco right now with a recipe, butter mochi, that is very common, something you bring to a potluck, a gathering with friends, but also really an easy recipe, forgiving on mistakes and easy for kids, which is why we are making it today. So the first thing is, if you haven't preheated your oven to 350 degrees, go run and do that right now. The second thing is, I did it already, honey. So we said use a 9x11 pan. This is not 9x11, but it's big enough and it doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's a really forgiving recipe. So can you please spray the pan for me?
How much? A lot?
Yeah, just coat the bottom and sides with the spray.
All
right. The second thing we're gonna do is we're gonna macerate the berries, which we're gonna use at the end as a topping. So that's a lot of spray. Lift a little bit and then just get the sides. So I'm gonna take the berries. I have sugar in a bowl here, 1/4 cup of sugar. And I'm gonna put half of my berries in here, about half. And then Blaine, do you wanna smash these together? Oh, I also have a magic ingredient here, a hard-boiled egg. You're not actually using a hard-boiled egg. This is to distract the toddler. So can you start cracking the egg now for us? Yeah, do it on the table and then peel it in here, okay? Thank you. All right, so he is now macerating the berries. So really mix them, put your back into it, press them together. And so half of these you want mixed in and pressed with the sugar.
Can I taste one?
Yeah.
Dip it in extra sugar.
And then I'll press the other ones down.
Really yummy.
Nice, mix them up a little more. All right, and then you're gonna let me mush these two. Good. So we're using a combination of raspberries and blueberries. This is not common for a butter mochi recipe, but I figured this was a fundraiser, so we needed to make it fancy. And also, it's nice to be able to use the late summer bounty of California Farmers Market. So take a look at that with the sugar coating it. Great. All right, and then just let that chill on the side. And then Blaine, can you help us walk through our other ingredients here?
Okay, so we have baking powder, one stick of melted butter, 2 cups of sugar, and 4 eggs, and mochi Keno, and the evaporated milk, and coconut milk, and vanilla.
How much vanilla?
1/4.
About a teaspoon of vanilla.
Oh.
All right.
No, but yeah.
Great. And so once you have all these ready, you're basically just going to start assembling them. And so we're going to start by assembling the sugar, mixing the sugar and the melted butter together. So you can do that for me.
Yeah, that's right.
We have enough sugar. Thank you. And the butter.
Butthole. Butter.
Live TV. Now mix those together.
Okay.
And then once those are mixed together, you're going to start to add 1 egg at a time.
But try it first.
You want to taste the butter and sugar? I like to taste at this point too. When I was a kid and I would bake, I always wanted to start tasting the butter and sugar. I thought that was the best part. Ooh, it's all right. How does it taste? All right. So I'm going to start adding 1 egg at a time, and then you can keep mixing.
I cracked the egg.
Keep mixing.
Next egg.
Okay. You want to stop tasting now because it's raw eggs, and I really don't want you to eat raw eggs.
We did last time.
If you get sick, now's a bad time to go to the hospital.
Yeah. Sides.
Good.
Here, I want to crack it.
So,
Here.
Yeah, you want to crack it?
I cracked the egg.
You did it? Are you going to eat the white part?
No.
What are you going to do? Okay. Good. Now mix that last one in.
Can I put other one in there? No, see, don't put that in there.
Okay, and then I'm going to add the baking powder.
Now it's like water, it just rests on the surface.
The vanilla.
More vanilla. Now it's gonna look like.
And the mochiko. Unless you're in Hawaii, this was probably the hardest ingredient for you to get. I know, or you're skipping this recipe because you couldn't find mochiko. It's sold in some supermarkets, but a lot of times you have to go to an Asian specialty store to get this. All right, so I'm gonna mix in. Good. CJ, how's that egg?
Good.
Yummy? All right. You did a great job peeling it. I thought it would take you longer. All right.
Don't estimate the power of toddler.
Then how about that?
All right, those are going to be the last two
Okay,
things
now
to
it's
go
starting to stink.
in. Okay, so let me mix it in. That's the egg. That's the
Tastes
part
like
of the
your
egg.
farts.
Plain. That's not appropriate.
Sorry,
It might be true, but it's not appropriate. And then evaporated milk.
Can I stir? Can I stir?
Yes, you can stir in a second, and coconut milk. So I want to say a little bit about kind of why we're here, I think. One, because I'm a friend of Adam's, but you want to stir with me? So our pandemic experience has been really difficult. Our quarantine, going on 6 months right now, and being in quarantine with 2 young kids has been really tricky. And what I saw in the spring and early summer was distance learning was hard, right? School was hard in the school. And learning was really suffering, and frankly, our mental health was really taking a hit. And so we started looking for activities that we could do, particularly Blaine and us, that would be interactive and less academic. And so we started cooking together, especially before we were heading outside more. And we found that we were having a lot of fun cooking, and that, hey, stop eating the sugar. We were having a lot of fun cooking, and it really helped us cut down on some of the screaming and the crying and the difficulty we were having. And so we started a YouTube channel together, stop that, called Cooking Disasters with Blaine, as a way to kind of capture our journey learning cooking together. So check it out, and don't forget to like. And yeah, and so as I said, like having the activity together was great for our mental health. And that's one of the reasons I'm happy to support the Adolescent Health Working Group, because of your focus on family health, on adolescent health, on children health, particularly mental health, because, what are you doing? Because we have some, don't eat the shell, that's so nasty. Because we have some experience with that journey. And so also,
Stop eating the shell.
we're also excited to make a contribution today of $100. Yeah, to the fundraiser, which I took from Blaine's piggy bank. You want to pour it in? Don't eat the eggshell. All right, CJ, help me pour. All right, last step is we're gonna pour. So you can see the consistency. It looks like cake batter. It won't come out like a cake. It'll come out different consistency, but it kind of feels like cake batter. And mine has a few lumps in it. That's fine. That's no problem with that. Like I said, it's a very forgiving recipe. Yeah, you're gonna stir it. Give it 3 stirs, 2 stirs, 1 stir, and now we're gonna pop it in the oven. Blaine, can you open the oven for me so I can get it in there? Excuse me. All right, CJ, stay back, and we're gonna open the oven. It's gonna be hot. Nice job, cameraman, with your foot. Open. All right, so I'm gonna set that in the oven.
I'm burning.
And we're gonna leave it there for about an hour. Start doing the toothpick test at about 55 minutes. We'll see you at the end of the show.
I cannot see.
Thank you guys so much. Oh my God. Chris, Ed, Blaine, CJ, I love you boys. You totally add to the production value that is cooking for our lives. Dessert we will enjoy towards the end, but kind of segueing to our next step, I want to highlight another resource. I feel like Ed did such a perfect job of showcasing what parent-child communication looks like. And it isn't, hey, let's sit on a couch, let's have quiet time, let's, everything is planned and coordinated as you want it to be. I think what Ed and Blaine really showed us was it's moments like that. It's going to be bath time. It's going to be driving our kids to recitals and practices and whatnot. And really, any time is a good time to start talking to young people about their health, about their interests, about what they like. So I do want to highlight our second resource, which is talking with and listening to adolescents. This is the second resource that we featured on the link that all you registrants got. And There are 7 tips. It talks about why communication matters, and it gives real practical advice as well. So check that out. There will be links to other resources as well. All of you are likely subscribed to our newsletter already and already get our content, and this is what you can look forward to moving forward. Ed and Blaine, you guys did such a phenomenal job that we actually had donations coming in. Thank you for your support, obviously. We had a donation from Joel come in from California. Thank you, Joel. We had a donation from Sandy from Missouri come in as well. And so thank you guys so much. We have a comment from the audience, which is that you guys are the cutest family ever. And I couldn't agree more. And so if you have the capacity and would like to give tonight as well, AHWG.org, Adolescent Health Working Group, but AHWG.org is the link you can go to and find that donate button and show us your support. Thank you. I would love to introduce our next speaker, who is a board member of ours. This is Sasha Simon, a senior program manager at the Drug Policy Alliance based in New York, and also really spearheading the nation's first harm reduction-based drug education curriculum for high school students in 9th and 10th grade. And that curriculum is called Safety First. Sasha, please welcome to tonight's program.
Thank you so much, Adam, for that introduction. I'm really excited. I'm really grateful to be here because I really get to speak to the revolutionary work that the Adolescent Health Working Group does. So like Adam said, I work for the Drug Policy Alliance. I am the senior program manager of Safety First. And Safety First is the nation's first harm reduction-based drug education curriculum for teens. So over the past 3 years, I've had the privilege of managing the development and the evaluation of that curriculum. Our last pilot of the curriculum took place in San Francisco. And I'm not sure if people know how much of a role that the Adolescent Health Working Group actually played in that. And so I'm super excited to give you a bit of background about why they've been such an amazing partner in this work, and really a convener and a holder of this work as well. I don't know how many people remember, but whenever the California Healthy Youth Act was passed, it was really the Adolescent Health Working Group that stepped up. And if you don't remember, the California Healthy Youth Act mandated comprehensive sex ed in schools. So schools then had this issue of finding, viable, accurate, and inclusive sexual health curricula that they can use in their schools, and making sure that there was, the appropriate training as well for teachers to be able to deliver that in their schools. And Adolescent Health Working Group took up the mantle. So they developed Be Real, Be Ready, wrote it according to the standards of the California Healthy Youth Act. And it's been such a prolific tool. And the fact that they were able to do that, and bring that curriculum to such a state of prominence, and also just it's just so well done. It really meets the needs of young people, but also meets the needs of teachers. It's so well rounded and so well vetted in terms of how many people got to take a look at it. We wanted to put Safety First, the nation's first harm reduction based drug education curriculum, in their hands as well. So throughout these 3 years, doing this work with Safety First, the Adolescent Health Working Group has been a convener, and it's really brought together all the major players who are really looking after and are passionate about young people's health. I met people from the school system, from the Department of Health, community-based organizations who were really able to give me such a breadth and depth and, holistic, not complete, but a very holistic perspective on what adolescent health looks like in San Francisco, and also, who are the people who are passionate and are really working on all sides and all angles and are doing this work. So the Adolescent Health Working Group has been a huge, huge, huge supporter and a huge, huge, huge contributor. And they're a lot more revolutionary than I think people really know. I really support them for that reason. And I really see the Adolescent Health Working Group especially in this moment. Even as you see now, we're doing this incredible event live, virtually. I love to cook. I'm a mini sous chef in my own head. So I think that this is such a great idea to be able to bring healthy meals to people at home, to be able to come together and to convene and to really do work that really brings people in and that's really needed. And we all get to have a lot of fun and we all get to be proud of what we do. And Adolescent Health Working Group really brings people together to be able to do that. So, you know, I also want to highlight that after decades of DARE and after decades of just say no messaging, it's really not it's not a small deal to take on the mantle after doing Be Real, Be Ready, but also take on the mantle of Safety First, a harm reduction based drug education curriculum, and say, we're here for you. And we support you guys whatever way that we can to make this happen. So by all means, Safety First, you can go, thankfully, because of the work of the Adolescent Health Working Group, you can go download that for free at the Drug Policy Alliance's website. But tonight, I really hope that you take a moment to really support the work, the very hard and revolutionary work and pioneering work of the Adolescent Health Working Group, and really consider making a donation so that this type of work can continue and really proliferate at a moment that I think the organization is so well posed to be able to really show people how it's done. So I could go on and on. I really could about the Adolescent Health Working Group and how Adam has taken such great, you know, direction for the organization, but I think we might need to stop so we can make another meal, yeah?
Sasha, you are amazing. It's so hard not to get emotional when I hear you speak. Thank you for those kind words personally, but definitely for the organization. And this is what truly motivates me as well. It's connecting with partners like you all, you know, huge other partners who have been integral to the Adolescent Health Working Group, UCSF, the Department of Public Health, Planned Parenthood. I mean, none of this, we wouldn't exist without our membership and our members. And so it's truly, you know, we have the luxury of like, our work every day is just about organizing, developing community. And for me, that just makes for beautiful work. So thank you, Sasha.
Absolutely.
Another raffle really quickly, y'all. I'm gonna draw another name, and this is for a terrarium kit. So terrarium kit in a box, it comes with stainless steel tools and an air plant. And this is gonna go home. Someone is gonna become a new plant parent. And really quickly, mixing again. Name I have here is Sarah Hin. Sarah Hin, congratulations. This terrarium kit is gonna get packaged up and sent out to you. Our team will reach out to you with contact info. We do wanna move on to our appetizer course. So we have Chef Lauren Keno coming up, and I've so appreciated organizing this little program because I've gotten to know everybody and everybody is really fascinating. Chef Lauren Keno was an environmental geologist, a line chef to restaurant owner, and really kind of brings with us a Northern California culinary style. She loves cooking over an open fire. Her dishes are described as clean, bright flavors, really allowing those natural ingredients to shine. And I think you'll see that in this evening's recipe as well. In 2018, Chef Lauren decided to leave the restaurant world and take a full-time position as a private chef. So without further ado, we are going to walk through some summer vegetable soba noodle salad. Thanks for being with us tonight.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Adam. So as Adam said, I'm going to talk you guys through a summer vegetable soba noodle salad. So this is a great salad to serve as a side dish. It's a nice room temperature dish, so you can make it ahead of time. And it's great in hot weather. But you can also use it as a base for a fish entree. So like if you have a grilled piece of salmon, it goes great with the salad on the side. So I have the same printout that you guys you have here today too. So getting started, we're gonna go with our tomatoes here. So I've already cut up tomatoes and I used a combination of early girl tomatoes and cherry tomatoes. And what we're gonna do is just season these lightly with some salt and stir that up, a little bit of pepper, and give those a nice stir. And this will help bring out the juices of the tomatoes and really make them nice and flavorful. And the juice that they're going to give off actually helps to dress the salad later on. So we're going to set these aside for now. And the next getting started step is our cucumber here. So this is actually a Mediterranean cucumber. It's not a Japanese cucumber, but it's quite similar because it has a nice thin skin. It's nice and crispy. And what we're going to do with this is just take some sea salt here, sprinkle it. You can kind of see, just rub the outside of the cucumber with the salt really well like that with your fingers. And then we're going to set this aside and let it sit for about 10 minutes. And the purpose of putting the salt on the outside of the cucumber is to help make it nice and juicy. So nice and crispy and juicy, and then just helps the texture of the salad later on. So I'm just going to walk you guys through the ingredients really quickly and talk a bit about the ingredients, where they come from. I actually always start a recipe with going to the farmer's market, and usually I find a certain vegetable, an amazing ear of corn, or some beautiful basil, or really fresh tomatoes, and that kind of gets me going with what I want to make. So I'm always at the farmer's market, and that kind of is my usual source of inspiration. So tonight we have a really nice assortment of veggies I got at the farmer's market at the San Francisco Ferry Building Farmer's Market. And there's a bunch of different farms I use. And I really have to say that, you know, during the pandemic, it's been really hard to kind of stay grounded and focused. But one thing that's really helped me a lot is to go to the farmer's market and just see the same faces, talk to the farmers. It really helps me feel like I'm connected and feel like I'm actually doing something good for the community. I've always worked with farmers like throughout my career, but I think now it's even more important to support these local small businesses. Even now, they're at the farmer's market through a pandemic, through fires, through drought. I mean, they're just there every single week, really working hard for us and bringing us the most amazing vegetables. So anyways, I have some vegetables to show you guys here today. This is a little gem lettuce. It's actually a red little gem lettuce. And this lettuce is actually a cross between butter and romaine. So it's really nice and crispy, but it's not quite as tough as romaine. So it's a great salad lettuce. This little guy here, this little tomato, is called an early girl tomato. And this is grown by Dirty Girl Farm down in Santa Cruz. And even though their farm is threatened by fire right now, they're still at the market. It's just amazing. Scallions here. We all know what scallions are, also known as green onions. I showed you the cucumber here. This is actually, like I said before, a Mediterranean cucumber. You can use Japanese cucumbers, any kind of cucumber that's a nice thin skin will work really well for the salad. These peppers here are called Shishito Peppers, and they're also known as Japanese frying peppers. But if you can't find these, go ahead and use a bell pepper or red bell pepper. That will work fine here too. So for this salad, what I did with these peppers is roast them for about 10 minutes at 400 degrees, and that gets them kind of just a little bit blistery and roasty tasting without making them too soft. I also have some jalapeno peppers here. So I have a red jalapeno pepper and a green jalapeno pepper. These are huge. So for this salad, I think I would use maybe like a half of one. And especially this time of year, these peppers can be a little bit spicy. So you want to make sure that you kind of err on the side of caution when using your amounts of peppers. Nice fresh corn here. This is from Brentwood, and it's a yellow corn that's really nice and sweet and juicy. I have an avocado here. This is just called a Haas avocado, but it's grown by a farm called Broca Avocados down in Santa Barbara, and they're great. They're amazing avocados, probably the best avocados I've ever had. So worth seeking out if you can find them. I do have some imported ingredients as well. So usually what I try to do is stick with the local ingredients. These are some Japanese ingredients that are imported by a local import company that's actually run by a chef friend of mine. So he is really into finding out the best Japanese producers, small producers that create these amazing ingredients. So a lot of times these families are producers that have been working for hundreds of years making soy sauce, making rice vinegar, etc. So it's really worth seeking out. His company is called the Japanese Pantry. And what I have from him today is a shiro soy. It's a white soy sauce. If you can't find shiro soy, you can definitely use just regular soy sauce or tamari. That's fine. I have some toasted sesame oil here. This is an Asian style sesame oil, so it's nice and toasty and roasty. I have a brown rice vinegar. You can also use regular rice vinegar as well. That works just fine for the salad. And then to garnish, I have some organic roasted sesame seeds here. These are from Japan, nice and roasty toasty. They come toasted already, so you just have to use them as a garnish. They're really easy to use. The last Japanese ingredient is soba noodles. So these come in packages dried, and I would just cook them according to the package directions. And sometimes they do have wheat flour on them, so they're not always gluten-free. So just make sure that you look at the ingredients in case you are looking for a gluten-free ingredient. So anyways, next step, we're going to put the salad together. So I'm going to show you how to cut the corn off the cob. So this corn here has already been cooked and blanched in boiling water. So what I'm going to do is take a sharp knife and just shave off the kernels of the cob. I don't know if you guys can see me like this, but just be really careful, set it down on a firm surface and just shave right down. There's our corn, just like that, nice fresh corn. And next step is to smash our cucumber here. So this cucumber has been sitting in the salt for about, not quite 10 minutes, but it's getting a little bit juicy on the outside. It'll work just fine. I use a French rolling pin to smash it, also known as a cucumber smasher, not a rolling pin. Put it on the table just like this and just kind of lightly smash it. So it'll be kind of cracked on the outside, just like that, but it won't be totally broken up. And what we'll do is just kind of slice it down. And have some nice chunks, just like that. So next step, we're gonna mix up the salad. I have my serving bowl, so we're just gonna mix it up all in here. Very easy. We have our cooked soba noodles right there. And an important step to remember when you're doing the soba noodles, make sure that you rinse them in cold water after they come out of the water because they can get kind of gummy. Just like that. And then we have our tomatoes here. These are already starting to get some nice juiciness in the bottom of the bowl right there. So we're going to add those to the noodles, just like that. And these are the dressing ingredients. So this is the shiro soy, the sesame oil, vinegar, and lemon juice. We're going to pour that right on top. And just mix that up. We'll add our cucumber next. Just sprinkle that on top. And our corn. And I'm just kind of gently mixing in the ingredients here so they all get coated by some of the dressing. This will be nice and juicy. And then we have these are our Shishito peppers that have been roasted and sliced up. You don't really have to worry about taking out the seeds of these because they're very mild. And this is our sliced scallion and the chopped jalapeno pepper. I did take out some of the seeds of the jalapeno pepper because they're kind of spicy. So if you like spicy, go ahead and leave them in, but I kind of like a mild spice. So I did take the seeds out. Mix that all in there. There we go. And then we have our toasted sesame seeds here. We're just going to sprinkle those right on top. And then what I like to do last is add our herbs and add our lettuce. So this is a fresh Thai basil I found at the market today. Super fragrant, and it's really, really nice in the salad because it gives a nice herbal pop. So I'm going to sprinkle that on top along with the mint. And then the last step is to fold in our lettuce. So if you're making the salad ahead of time, what I would do is just add the lettuce at the very last minute right before you serve it. Okay, so this is basically the finished salad. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's a nice colorful, healthy salad. It's great as a side dish. I would definitely recommend using it as a side dish for lunch. You can take it for lunch. You can use it as a picnic side dish. And again, it goes great with proteins like fish, like a grilled fish. You can even top it with a hard-boiled egg, and that would make a great, very healthy meal. And I'm really glad to be here today. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you so much, Chef. Folks, like if you've been following along and you're ready to like get some sustenance into your bodies, please start helping yourself and snacking along the way. We're gonna have tacos up in a few minutes, but as Chef Reilly gets wrapped up with his prep work, I do want to do another prize drawing. And so next on our, again, these prize drawings, it's just, they were free. Anyone who signed up for tonight's event, you were just automatically registered or automatically thrown into the entry. So I have here right now a teak wood and white sage candle, a island retreat, but a coconut blend wax candle, and some alpaca matches. So this will be one set that will go to another recipient, and our glass name bowl. I'm drawing Mary Tao. This is yours. This candle set is now yours, and our team will hit you up with contact info, and we'll get this shipped out to you. You all, I'm really super thankful for everything that we've experienced so far, and to be quite honest, with the live program, this is going so much better than I could have ever hoped or dreamed for. I do want to introduce our next speaker, and this is Robert Francoeur. Robert is an adolescent mental health specialist and has been a provider for over a decade. He's the wellness coordinator at a local San Francisco public high school. And in running the wellness initiative, he helps teens gain the skills they need to cope with health issues like stress, trauma, suicide, bullying, substance use, sexual health, and relationships, everything. Robert is also on our board. And Robert, thank you for donating and volunteering your time. And thanks for speaking this evening. The floor is yours. And don't forget to unmute. Don't forget to unmute. But
Okay.
Cheers to you too.
Yeah, cheers, cheers. Cheers to everyone. And I just want to elaborate on what two of our past speakers have said. Lisa made a very good point about Adolescent Health Working Group being like Elastigirl. It's connector. As a direct service provider, I've experienced how Adolescent Working Group is able to take information from different CBOs and people who are running different CBOs and connect them to other places, like the high school in particular where I work. We're not, as you know, public education isn't super well funded, so it's often a very piecemeal, put together set of resources. And I feel like Adolescent Health Working Group has been amazing in help bringing those pieces together. And some examples of that are the toolkits, for instance. They are put together by a multidisciplinary team, including medical doctors, UCSF, and other agencies in the city that bring in other voices, like our African-American community and our Latino community into these toolkits. So we provide culturally relevant services. And I use these toolkits. Take a look at them. They're amazing. They're very concrete, very well put together. And I use them for my interns. And I have them, I give them a stack because we have some of the printed ones. Although I'll have them use the online ones because the online ones have been updated. So they have been updated. And that's another valuable thing that Adolescent Health Working Group does, is they update their materials, which is really important. So my interns use it. I'll leaf through them sometimes to get myself up to speed on best practices happening in the moment. Also revolutionary, I would say revolutionary as well, sort of following on to what Sasha said, in that the Be Ready, Be Real, which is the sex ed curriculum, and Safety First, which is the harm reduction substance use curriculum. Both of them have actually, the data is showing that with Be Ready, Be Real, San Francisco has one of the lower rates of pregnancy in the nation. And you'll find in areas of the country where they do not have real concrete direct sex education, they have higher rates of teen pregnancy because the teens need to have the information in order to make their own decisions. And to arm them with that information is crucial. And same with, I'm really excited about Safety First because our school district is going to start using Safety First this year. And it's providing teenagers with the tools, not only of what they might encounter in the world in terms of drugs and alcohol, but what their decisions are that they can make. And one of those decisions is decide not to use, but to have that all information is really crucial. So revolutionary in that I think it's at the cutting edge of both reproductive health education and substance use education. Adolescent Health Working Group has been crucial in that. I would add one more, I would say responsive. Here's an example. Adam and I met a couple weeks ago in a meeting, and he has an intern that he's working with named Tiffany, and she's working on an app that will help facilitate schools with their clubs in remote learning mode. And this is a real difficult time for adolescents right now. They're not able to be with their peers, and this is at this stage of development, this is who they talk to, this is who they get information from, and how they develop. So they're very isolated from one another. So anything that can help facilitate that connection, and I'm very excited about this this app that being developed to facilitate clubs and help students run clubs and concrete ways to run those clubs. Also in the works, I know that Adam has been looking into how to support parents and guardians during remote learning. We're all learning this as we go. And parents and guardians need support. And this is an area that it really needs services to come in and information to come in. So I'm really grateful for Adam to have that vision and to bring that in. And I look forward to being a part of that. All right. Well, thank you so much, and enjoy main entree and dessert. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Robert. Having had the past couple of years to work with you, Robert, I mean, you just bring such an important, vital perspective around school-based health, and what are you hearing from educators? What are you hearing from students in the hallways, in the classroom, in the therapy sessions even? And so thank you for continuing to lend your expertise and your outlook to our work and our mission. All right, we do want to get to our entree course. So I have the privilege to introduce Chef Reilly Meehan. Growing up in Santa Cruz, where he fell in love with the kitchen while working at his father's restaurant from a really young age, and I can relate. Had a similar childhood with my mom and her running restaurants as well. He has won numerous international cooking competition titles and loves mentoring his staff to create well-rounded, informed, I can't believe he's going to make me say this word, culinarians for the next generation of cooks. Reilly currently works at the Bohemian Club in San Francisco as the executive sous chef, as well as working as a private chef. And I've become great friends with him during this process of planning. And I'm so glad we all get to hear from him tonight. Chef Reilly, your camera also maybe needs to be, yep, you got it. And the floor is yours. The kitchen is yours. And unmute yourself as well.
Okay, how's that? Can everybody hear me? How's my mustache looking? Is that okay?
Beautiful.
Good. Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much to Adolescent Health Working Group for having me. When I got to team up with Adam, we had an instant click and an instant bond that was just made me want to help him out and work with him. And needless to say, this is an amazing organization. I mean, you've heard these wonderful words from all these people who support this, and I fell in love with this organization very quickly. I don't want to take up too much of your time because I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Southampton. As you can tell, this is clearly not my kitchen, but I'm starving. It's almost 10:15, so I want to get some dinner in my belly. But if you haven't made a donation yet to Adolescent Health Working Group, I strongly urge you to do so. Like I said, this is a great organization, and you know, an event like this should be treated as such, should be treated like the work that goes into it. So I'm really proud to be a part of this. I just want to walk through the sort of program that I'm going to go through, just so everybody can sort of see where we're at. Let me flip my camera and we can show you the mise en place that we have here. So what we're going to do first is we are going to turn on our pan super hot so that we can get that good caramelization on the meat that has already been marinated right here. It's been really thinly sliced. It's been marinating. Mine's been in here for about 8 hours. So we're going to turn on our pan really hot. And while that's working, we're going to make the slaw here. And then I have my tortillas and my lime and my cilantro for garnish. So let's go ahead and just turn on our pan. I'm going to turn it on to high heat. Again, like I mentioned in the recipe, we want to make sure that this is super hot to get that good caramelization, and that will also help the cornstarch activate and thicken up when we cook it. So I have a little bit of oil in there. If you didn't marinate your meat, which I understand some people, you know, either got a little behind or didn't get the ingredients until later, that's totally fine. If you didn't marinate your meat, let's just go ahead and mix that marinade together now and either toss your meat with it or we'll add it to this when we add the meat to the pan. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and just get, we're gonna get making this slaw here. One of the things that drew me to food and what I initially loved about it is the ability to connect cultures and to introduce people to cultures that they might not have known about otherwise. So I think this harkens back to what the Adolescent Health Working Group is doing with youth, in that, you know, this is an opportunity for you to talk to your kids or to talk to your classmates or to talk to your, you know, students about different ingredients that you might not be used to. So one of those ingredients would be gochujang. I didn't know anything about this until I started in the culinary industry. And this is going to be the base to the slaw that we're going to make here. So gochujang is a spicy fermented soybean paste, really found in Korean food. I fell in love with it. I use it in Mexican cooking sometimes because it sort of mimics that like tahini, spicy, effervescent kind of wonderfulness. So let's put a little bit of that in our bowl. We're gonna mix that with the mayonnaise. And then we're gonna add a little bit of rice vinegar. We're gonna mix this together. This is gonna be the base to our slaw here. If you don't like mayonnaise, if you aren't a fan of spicy food, that's totally fine. One of the things I like to do with my recipes, and one of the things that I want everybody to take away from this, is just sort of technique. So the technique of making a slaw, you know, the shaved vegetables that go into a dressing, that's the technique. The technique of the marination, that we're cooking super high to get that caramelization. That's what I want everybody to walk away with at the end of this. You know, if you're missing an ingredient, or if you know, want to put something, you know, your unique flair into it, that's totally awesome. I'm not going to be offended. My recipe won't be offended if you put your unique flair on it. So that's the base to our slaw right there. We're going to take the pineapple. I have about a quarter pineapple. We took the core out here. Just going to cut it into kind of big chunks. I mean, I don't want it super small. I want you to be able to taste it and notice that it, you know, get that mouthfeel from the pineapple. So we're going to dice that up. And then we're going to turn to my favorite kitchen tool of all time, which is the bench scraper, because it makes it so easy to just transfer everything into the bowl. So get yourself one of these if you haven't. And then we have a quarter of a cabbage. I'm going to remove the core here. And we're just gonna get rid of that. And then we're just gonna shave it. If you had a mandolin, that would be a great opportunity to use that really thin. Obviously, I've honed my knife skills over the years in the kitchen, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use my trusty knife to do that. This is just a kind of standard green cabbage. If you wanted to use like a Napa cabbage or even a red cabbage would be totally fine. Again, put your flair on it, you know, whatever. I understand people are gonna need to modify recipes for whatever they like. So same thing, we're just gonna throw that into the bowl here. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm getting a little bit of smoke on my pan here, which is exactly what I want because I want this to be ripping hot. You know, for somebody like Ed, who has a lot of little children around, if you didn't want to do this on the stovetop, I would recommend putting your meat onto a pan with foil and under the broiler in your oven. Turn your broiler onto high, lay your meat out in one layer and throw it into the oven and you'll be good to go. So the next thing we're gonna do is take this kimchi here. Again, you know, this is a great recipe to introduce people to ingredients that maybe they've never had before. I mean, kimchi can be kind of a daunting thing, I think, if people haven't tasted it before. But when you mix it into a slaw with the sweet pineapple and the kind of spiciness, I think it's going to be an easy intro for people. So we're going to throw that in. And lastly, we're going to take the cilantro and we're going to dice it up. I love cilantro stems. I think they actually add a lot of flavor to dishes, and I think people are quick to discard them. So I just leave my cilantro stems on there. We're going to throw that in, and we will revisit that in 1 second. So if you can see, my pan is smoking hot here. I'm going to take the meat, always away from myself. I'm going to throw the meat into the pan. That is what we want. Can you hear that? So let's move it around till it's about 1 layer thick. Leave it on high heat, and we're just gonna let that go. Don't touch it, don't move it. We want that caramelization. We want all of those good brown bits that come with this. So we're just gonna leave that as is, don't touch it. So why this marinade works, what we love about this marinade. The apple and the onion, the acidity from that are gonna start to break down the meat a little bit. So they're gonna be super tender. It's gonna be really easy to eat. The cut of meat is also really important. You know, we have this skirt steak, which is fairly well marbled. Even if you wanted to use a less fatty cut of meat, that's totally fine. The marinade has got enough of that acid in it to help break down the meat. So it's going to be really, really tender, really easy to eat, which is what you need when you're eating a taco. You don't want to be like pulling big chunks off. So we're going to let that sit. We have our slaw mixed up. Hopefully you can see here. Looks really nice, nicely dressed. It's going to be bright, refreshing, acidic, super tasty. Next thing we're going to do is heat up the tortillas. So I go straight up onto the flame here. If you wanted to do them in a pan, that works as well. I've developed no sense of feeling in my fingers after years in the kitchen, so I just do it straight onto the stove like this. Also, I like that kind of charred contrast that you get. The soft tortilla, the charred, kind of burnt, a little bit of bitterness that comes with that is super tasty. Let's come in close here and you can see the meat here. See how the edges are starting to get a little bit of caramelization there. The cornstarch in this also really helps to thicken up any of the marinade, which I really like because it kind of helps coat all of the meat. So we're gonna flip our tortillas. You can see the edges there are nice and toasty. That's how I like mine. So last thing we're gonna do, what is a taco without lime and cilantro? So I like to garnish with just wedges of lime here. We're gonna throw those on. My meat is seconds away from being cooked. One of the things is you don't want to overcook this. So if you overcook your meat, it's going to be really chewy. Luckily, we have that safeguard of the marinade in place, which is going to help us from overcooking it and creating a really chewy product, but you still, you can't overcook this. So a really quick marinade, a really quick saute is going to be vital for this. So mine's super close. So I've got my tortillas here. I'm going to slap these on the plate. I'm going to take some of this meat, which is beautifully cooked, nicely caramelized. We have a nice glaze on it, the garlic, the onion, the soy. It's going to be this really rich, delicious mommy taco. I'm going to throw that right onto my tortilla here. I'm going to top it with a little bit of this kimchi gochujang slaw. And I am going to eat because I am absolutely starving. So thank you so much to Adolescent Health Working Group for having me. Really excited to be a part of this. And let's just get a quick shot of the finished product there. I hope everybody enjoys. And like I said, make this dish your own. If you don't want meat, do something different. If you want to leave the gochujang out, do something different. But really excited to be here. And thank you guys.
Thank you, Chef Reilly. That was so beautifully done. When you were doing like your chef skills on the chopping board, I mean, just hearing that sound, it was, it was music.
Thank you, Adam.
Folks, stick around. Our chefs are gonna kind of hop back on with us really towards the end because we still have to pull our dessert out of the oven. But I think this is a great time. If you have your drinks, your appetizers, your tacos ready to go, please dig in. We just have a couple more speakers left. And so we wanted to offer just some programming as we kind of dine and eat together. I want to do a couple of quick shout outs. So thank you so much to Mr. Robert P. for your donation, Robert P. from California. Chef Lauren, thank you for your donation as well. And I want to do a kind of quick shout out to my little niece Charlotte, who is watching out in Berkeley, and to my daughter, 5 years old at home, you little warrior princess. Dada says hi. I wish I was there with you, but I know you're being a good girl at home, and I will see you in a little bit. I do want to present a couple more speakers. I want to do one more prize drawing, and then let's dig into dessert together. So if folks want to just hang tight for a little bit, the next person I would love to introduce is Michelle Williams, who is the Vice President of the San Mateo County Foster Parent Association. And this is where I've been a foster parent as well, San Mateo County, for the past 5 years. Michelle is a single parent with 3 kids via adoption and kinship care, has a master's degree in clinical psychology and several years as a mental health therapist, currently working towards being a life coach and specializing in career research. Michelle, thank you so much because you've only recently started working with the Adolescent Health Working Group and really came on board with your perspective, not only as a professional, but really as a parent and as a caregiver. So thank you for your willingness to kind of speak with us tonight.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. I am truly, truly honored to be here, and I was just thrilled that you invited me to speak to each of you. So I'm a bit nervous, and as you probably can hear in the background, I have a 4-year-old micromanager who constantly will interrupt me because that is just what his job is to do. So he's incredibly adorable. Thank you again. I just wanted to start by saying that my career has been one of a path that I did not anticipate. And I'm truly, truly blessed at the direction it has gone. And so when I started off being a counselor and working in mental health, it has just been an amazing journey that has led me to work in cancer research, where I've also had a chance to be able to work with patients, children, adults, and our elderly population who is thriving as best as they can during the conditions that they have. And what I am attracted to Adolescent Health Working Group is because they choose also to have that passion of helping our youth getting the best as resources as possible and making life as big as they can make it. And this is just such a critical time, given the pandemic, given a lot of the restrictions, which has unfortunately has affected everybody. It's just been a tough time for all of us. So with our youth in particular, they have such an impact on their emotional stability, which is a direct link to their academic learning. Now having to have the uncertainty of possibly having distance learning, having hybrid, it sadly seems to change on a daily basis. And what I can appreciate from Adolescent Health Working Group is that they are there to give them the resources to continue to thrive. And without a group like this, it sadly, it just becomes one less organization that is not available. And I just want to make sure I do everything possible to help this group continue to provide the resources and support to our teens. I've been very fortunate to help out on the toolkits that Adolescent Health Working Group has had. They're a fantastic model. It's a great resource, and a resource that is just going to continue to help our kids. Within that, the support that I am just so grateful to be able to do is I'm able to provide a contribution as well. And the contribution that I can provide is $50. But the nice part about that is I have a company matching program. So our matching program is a 2-for-1. So Adolescent Health Working Group will receive $150 from my self and my company. And I am just truly blessed to be able to do something more and as much as possible to help this company, this organization thrive. And so I am just saying that regardless of what your contribution may be, your support, all of it is just so important at such a critical time. And anything that you can do is always greatly appreciated from the Adolescent Health Working Group. They have, without a doubt, has helped more teens than I can count. And I am just looking forward to seeing them continuing to help more. And it goes without saying that it takes a village just to make something like this possible. So my hats are off to the Adolescent Health Working Group, to Adam and his team. And thank you very much for having me.
Michelle, you're going to bring me to tears. Thank you so much for your generosity. You donate your time and for you to financially support us as well. And thank you for really growing your financial support. I'm kind of speechless, and that rarely happens. So thank you. We've also had other donations come in. Dan R. from California, Shauna from California as well. James from Washington, D.C., all the way in the East Coast. You're still up with us. Thank you so much. And folks, again, the website, if you're able to contribute, is ahwg.org. We do have one more speaker, and I'd love to introduce Tiffany Lambright to you all. So Tiffany is actually our newest board member. And again, in this line of work, I'm constantly inspired by the number of sheroes and heroes that I meet. And Tiffany is definitely one of them. Tiffany is a pediatric nurse practitioner at the San Francisco General Hospital. She also teaches as a clinical faculty at the School of Nursing at UCSF here. And without further ado, Tiffany, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, thanks Adam for the intro. I will keep it brief because I know you are excited to get to dessert, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my history with AHWG, and thank you for being here. So I was first actually introduced to AHWG when I was working at a domestic violence agency here in San Francisco. This is back in 2008, and I was invited to a meeting that providers were coming together to discuss issues of teen dating violence. And ever since that point, I have been connected in some way with the organization. So over the years, have really enjoyed connecting with other adolescent providers at conferences, and have frequently used the Adolescent Health Working Group toolkits that some of the other panelists have spoken about tonight, within my various roles working with youth throughout the years. I now get to enjoy sharing these resources with my students, and most recently have contributed as a writer and editor for the newest update of the Sexual Health Toolkit that will be coming out this fall, so stay tuned for that. And I support AHWG because I care very deeply about adolescent health. And I think that it's incredibly important for care providers all over the world, all over our country and beyond, to have access to resources that allow them to really serve our youth as best as possible. And so AHWG not only provides those invaluable resources, but also allows adolescent providers opportunities to come together, to learn from each other. Sorry about the phone ringing in the background. Allows us to stay connected and find community. So AHWG may be a small shop, but its reach is incredibly far. Many professional organizations and adolescent service providers refer folks to AHWG for best practices for working with youth at any point. And so we appreciate you being here. We appreciate your support, and you're making it possible for these resources to continue to get to providers all over the country and beyond. And in doing so, really making a difference for what those providers can offer our youth. So thank you for being here. Cheers.
Cheers, Tiffany. Thank you, thank you. We want to just emphasize as we wrap up our program in the last few minutes, again, it's ahwg.org, AHWG for the Adolescent Health Working Group. Also, we know that we're live on YouTube right now. And for those of you who haven't already, feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a few video interview series up already. Our audience really is not only youth serving providers, but also parents and caregivers and young people themselves. So our content will always feature innovative providers who are doing innovative things in their line of work. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to highlight those stories, but engage with folks as well. Thank you, Michael, for your donation from California, and Karen from California as well. Thank you for contributing and lending your support. I have one more prize drawing for you all, and it's a trinket tray from Mariposa. It features this little engraved pineapple that says, "Be a pineapple, stand tall, wear a crown, and stay sweet." So I'd love to give this one a new home. And for our last prize drawing, I'm mixing, selecting a name, and it's going to Jonathan Vo in California. So thank you, Jonathan, for donating. And this is going to you. I do want to invite, let's see if we can do this. I would love to invite the chefs back with me and see if we can all get on camera together. And we're going to first turn it to Ed, who is going to kind of give us a little reveal. So I see the chefs. And Ed, all you have a couple minutes. Go for it.
Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, hear you loud and clear. Go for it.
Right.
Couple minutes. Go.
We have, I think, about 6 minutes left in the oven. However, we baked one yesterday because we knew this moment would come. You can see it's a different pan. And so our reveal will be with one that we made yesterday. So it has a nice spongy, springy texture. I'm gonna pull it out, and you can see it has those cake bubbles in it, but it's a lot denser than cake because that's the impact of the mochiko. So the sides are not good for presentation, but they're really yummy, so don't throw the sides away. So I'm gonna cut the sides off so you get the difference between that nice dark brown on the top and that creamy color, yellow color in the middle. Cut nice slices. And then I have 2 pretty plates and 1 kid plate. And then we're gonna top it with our macerated berries. Do you want berries? No berries? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna put some berries on mine. Great. You wanna put the berries on yours?
Yeah.
You wanna scoop it?
So gooey.
So gooey?
Yeah.
You can see the texture of these berries now is like somewhere between fresh berries and jam and syrup. Oh, you want more? Okay, get one more scoop.
And that's it.
And then I'm
I need
going,
more sugar.
if you have coconut, like baking coconut, you can sprinkle that on top for a little extra garnish. You want more berries? Do you want coconut? Oh, you want to put it in the bowl? Thank you. Do you want coconut?
Yeah.
Okay. Some coconut, and then
more sugar.
What does it need?
It needs more sugar.
Of course.
I want some.
And then I just decided to grab some mint from Nicole's great cocktail and put it in
How
here.
about this one? How about this
And
one?
so there is our beautiful mochi, butter mochi with macerated berries. You want to try yours, CJ? Oops. You're going to try yours?
Yeah.
Oh, not yet. Can I try yours? Okay, I'll try mine.
Yeah, I'll just try this one.
Okay. You going to put more coconut?
I'm gonna put some more.
You want to try this?
Let's start the operation with more sugar.
No. Do not dump sugar on that. How is it?
Good.
Good. Let me try taste.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna get a little berry in there.
I don't like berries.
You don't like berries?
I don't like to eat some.
Strong butter and coconut flavor, which is what we're going for. And the berries add a really good
Look what we got
addition to it.
today. Look what we got today.
Thank you, boys. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Blaine. I think we can all agree that CJ absolutely stole this show. Rest of you chefs, I definitely wanted you all to kind of be on camera one more time just so that we could really give you one more round of applause. Thank you so much for volunteering your time, your energy, your recipes for tonight's program. I try to kind of draw you guys a thank you card. This goes out to all our donors as well. I hope that everyone continues to stay safe, healthy, surrounded with loved ones. And please feel free to reach out to the Adolescent Health Working Group at any point for resources, for questions, for collaboration. We're here for you. We're in this together. And I wish you all to enjoy the rest of your weekend.